here to go over loading the OspreyHost client for 12.8.105. The client has changed, though not as much as the actual host piece itself. So we will go over a few of those changes as we progress. The first thing we want to do is edit the host file. There are multiple ways to do this, including opening up an administrative command prompt, navigating to the C, Windows, System32, Drivers, etc. folder, and directly editing the host file with Notepad. I prefer to use one of the Microsoft Power Toys, which is the host file editor. The Power Toys are a free download from Microsoft, and you can check out their site for more information. In my case, I'm going to add an entry. The address is the local host in this case. If I were doing a true client that wasn't located on the server, it would be the IP address of the server. Host name is OspreyHost.webClient.server. And then the comment, that's optional. I'm going to put OspreyHost Client. And then I'm going to click Add. At this point, I can close this down. And as you can see, I've opened it up in Notepad just to view it. And we have our entry of 127.0.0.1 OspreyHost Web Client Server, and then my comment of OspreyHost Client. You can do the same thing, as I said, with the text editor, or there are also other various utilities. I just happen to like this one. Next, we need the download, which will be the OspreyHost Backoffice version 12.8.105. I'm going to right-click on it and choose to run as administrator, and it's going to launch the installer. Now, because I have UAC on, I'm going to get the UAC prompt. In my case, I'm going to click yes. If you choose not to have UAC on, that is an option, though generally not preferred due to security. But if you turn it off, you won't see that prompt. At this point, my install shield comes up. I'm going to click next. I'm going to read and accept the license agreement. Next. And then I'm going to click install to start the install. Just as with host, it includes a myriad of files to copy, assembly files, procedure libraries, etc. It also copies the Progress OpenEdge web client, which is what we use on the clients in lieu of a full OpenEdge installation. It has several advantages, one of which is much smaller. The second of which are the licensing terms are a little more favorable for what we're doing. So once it finishes, which it's about to do, it's going to go ahead and start up the JVM installer just as it did for host. We need the Java JDK just like we did before. Then it's going to go ahead and run the .NET installer to ensure that we have the correct version of .NET on the machine. Once the .NET is finished, it's going to go ahead and start installing the Progress web client. It does create a scheduled task to facilitate updating. As I mentioned in the server piece, if you watch that, we no longer use IntelliStream. We actually use a scheduled task that is launched from the shortcut. So when you click on the shortcut, it launches that task. It will pull down a JSON file from the server, compare it with the value that's on the client, and if need be, prompt you to download the newest version of the software. In this case, we didn't need to, so I'm going to go ahead and hit finish. And I've got my singular icon over here, host client. In some installations, it may prompt for a reboot at this point, and others, such as this one, it may not. Alright, at this point I'm going to go ahead and launch the client. double clicking on it, it checked for an update briefly there. There is not one, so it's going to go ahead and load the splash screen. The same as with hosts, the default password, unless you had to change it, is UniFiHost 1966. And it's going to bring us into a very similar looking screen than as we had for host. Again, you've got our traditional menu structure down the left, the area where our screens will pop up, again, such as system parameters, and then a favorite section down the right. As I mentioned during the host installation, we will be having a What's New in 12.8.105 video where we will touch on things including the favorite section. Thank you for your time and have a great day.